This is Open Mind Alexander Technique. I'm Jess. Today we are talking about posture myths. What are my top 4 that my students usually come in with? And we have to go through, why is this not quite the case? At least not the case for most people. So our first one is this idea of lifting your chest as being a good thing. Let's look at why that's not quite the case. So on our friendly demonstrating stand here, your ribs are U-shaped, and they connect in the front. Now, all this clear stuff in the front is cartilage. So in the back, we have bone-to-bone joints with the ribs to the spine. And that's where they actually rotate. But in the front, it just flexes because of that cartilage. So ribs are U-shaped. There is a little bit of forward-backward flexionability in the front because of that cartilage, but not much. So when you've got U-shaped bones, they can't do this. This is not how ribs work. So if you're seeing someone who is doing big heaving breaths by doing this, where's the bend? Because it can't be in the ribs, which would be needing to do this. And that's not how those bones work. Those bones do this. So what's sending it forward? The only other thing at this level that can bend is the spine. So when you see someone who is trying to raise their chest, they're bending in their spines. I see this especially with brass players, that when they go to lift their instruments, it's here. A lot of that is taught in marching band, which in my previous video on brass instruments, I did a whole rant on why nobody forms good habits in marching band. A lot of that holds over then later on as they go to lift their instruments. Rather than leaving their backs alone, they're trying to pivot in their middle and upper backs up here. That's the difference. So when I add arms into that, you can see how a lot of people would go there very easily. You can't lift your sternum. Doesn't work. Effective breathing comes from actually releasing in your back and allowing your ribs to expand and contract. So that's our first of my 4, raising the sternum. The second is this idea of standing up straight. I said it many times on here, and I say it with almost every single one of my students. You will never hear me tell you to stand up straight. There is no posture police. I'm the closest thing to posture police, and that's a really ineffective statement. So where does that come from? Conveniently today, I'm wearing a shirt that will demonstrate it very well. When I wear a loose shirt and I stand to the side, you will see a straight line from my shirt, and that's not where my spine is. My spine is all the way in there. It curves, as it should. Your spine has 4, technically 5, but practically speaking, the 5th one doesn't really count. 4 natural curves to it. Stan here has a bolt through his neck, but his neck would trend this way. So your neck goes this way. This part of the spine, upper back, goes this way. Mid-spine goes that way. So here's your main 4 there. 1, 2, 3, 4. My brain's not working. Sorry, I was sick last week. There's 4 technically, but these are the main 3 that we think about. The 4th one is actually down here at sacrum. Sacrum and tailbone. So if I try to straighten my spine, I'll do it from the side. Watch what happens. So this part would need to go this way. This part would need to go that way. This part would need to go that way. Does that look sustainable to you? Now, when I let this go, watch the top of my head, the height of my head. It went up. When you try to straighten a structure that naturally wants to be wavy, the only way you can do it is by compressing yourself. And you will compress yourself in several different dimensions, and only bad things happen. So, you can't tighten yourself into uprightness. Not effectively, not sustainably. Straight back isn't an effective way to talk about this. So that's our second one, the idea of having a straight back or sitting up straight, standing up straight. Third one, the idea that age has to come with pain. Now, big asterisks on this one, because obviously, as we age, we are more susceptible to various different medical issues that can cause pain. Yes, absolutely. But just the age itself doesn't necessarily have to. In here, actually today, I had a student who's a grad student. He's in like mid-20s. And he talked about how he was struggling with going up and down some loading dock stairs that were really high. And he said, yeah, I just wrote it off to the fact that I'm getting old. And I figured that's why that was so weird and difficult. I said, no, no, it's not, because I'm older than you and I can do that. The whole idea here is we can adjust how we're engaging with things. So with this particular student, the idea of going up and down steep and high stairs, in his case, what was happening is he was sending his low back and pelvis forward as he tried to step, and that was creating a lot of tension and unbalanced weight distribution, badly distributed weight that he actually was able to change. So the way that I worked with him on this was keeping his whole back and practicing just lifting just his heels off the floor. This was where he could get to at this point today, because he's new. And then from there, where we can go to with that is being able to fully lift the leg without having to pull in various different ways that various different people are going to engage in. Another one that people will often talk about is, I hurt a lot when I'm waiting in line, and I didn't when I was a kid, so I figure that's just part of getting old. No, what are you doing when you're standing and waiting in line for something? Are you doing this? Because that'll hurt me too. I get about 10 seconds here and I start hurting, but this doesn't. So lots of these little things are about adjusting how are you interacting with your daily activities and the things that you need to be able to do as you age. The more you can keep up with this and stay adjustable, stay curious, the more that we're going to age well. A lot of Alexander Technique teachers keep teaching well into their 80s because it's just so good for us. We really tend to be quite adaptable to differences in our biology changing as we age, and we tend to maintain an ability to keep doing those things for longer because we can still come back to, all right, what can I optimize? What can I be aware of? What can I prevent that I don't want? What's within my control? And then how can I encourage what I do want? Ease, sustainability, fluid motion. So age does not necessarily have to come with pain. The final one we're going to talk about today is the idea of associating relax with collapse. Most of my students, when they come in, not all of them, but most, will associate the idea of I'm relaxing with I am in complete collapse. So they really have only two ends of these extremes that they're working with. They're either way overworking, which gets them burnt out and tired and hurting, or they're fully collapsed and that's the only time that they can relax. Rather than adjusting, where's our middle ground here? Can we make the activities that you're doing a little bit easier? And can we adjust what relaxing can mean? There's this idea in Alexander Technique of preconceived ideas. If your preconceived idea of getting in and out of a chair involves pulling in your neck, then of course it's going to be hard to get in and out of chairs because of how you're getting in and out of the chair with pulling. So we ask a lot of questions as Alexander Technique teachers. We ask people, what are you thinking about this? How are you going about this? What do you think has to be involved with sitting? What do you think has to be involved? What has to move in order to get you to walk up and down steep stairs? And from those questions, we can learn a lot about how students are organizing themselves through how they think they're supposed to move. So if students come in saying that, they sit upright in orchestra rehearsals for as long as they can, and then they have to just give up and just relax after that because their backs are hurting and they're doing too much. We're going to address both sides of this. We're going to work on not overworking when you do need to sit up and be active and aware. And we're going to work on what can relaxing mean? Can you be relaxed by just allowing the chair to do its job of supporting you? allowing your legs to be in power saving mode, letting go of your belly, asking your neck to not grab onto your head. For the vast majority of students who try this, they'll say out loud, "Yeah, I feel way more relaxed. This feels like relaxing." And then I take a picture of them from the side to show them you are sitting upright, away from the back of a chair, and you think this is relaxing now, because it can be. So, our 4 posture myths: raising the sternum, straightening the back, associating age with pain, and associating relaxing with collapsing. So I encourage you to notice in your daily life, where are you engaging with these posture myths? And how can you adjust that to have a little bit healthier outlook on how you organize yourself?